Crick Buzz at Stumps, Adam Collins and Harsha Bhogle. Cheteshwar Pujara, what a gem. India were on the ropes at 195 for 8, and then there he was. He batted with the tail, brought up his 15th Test 100, 5th against England, 2nd outside of Asia, which is a talking point of itself, Harsha. But what a player of mental strength.
If people are wondering why I'm laughing, it's because Adam Collins normally faces the camera and he's got a booming voice, but today all he was interested in was getting Cheteshwar Pujara right. I think England were interested in that. India, well, it was. I've got a lot of admiration for Pujara. I've watched him grow over the years. Wonderful, soft-spoken man, comes from a very old-fashioned family of cricket lovers, and you could see this was a very old-fashioned kind of innings where you negated the opposition, then slowly started to score runs. But I am so happy for Cheteshwar Pujara. I don't think the last year and a half has been the kindest for him. But if India are alive in this game, I think it's because he's played a magnificent innings.
Looking at the Test more broadly, we've got another cracker. A lot of similarities to Edgbaston when we started the series a few weeks ago. A first innings deficit of 27 for the home side after that late rally. A collapse in there as well of 6 for 53 at one stage. Moeen Ali back in the Test side, takes 5 wickets with his off spin. It was ups and downs throughout the course of the day. But at one point there, with Pujara batting with Kohli, it looked as though what you forecast last night, they'd bat through the day and they would put their authority on the Test match. Instead, England fought back. It really does give us that toss and turn, doesn't it?
It was, wasn't it? I mean, while Pujara and Kohli were batting, you thought they had the opportunity of batting England out of the game. And if India had a lead of 100 runs, then England, I think, would have been out of the game. But so many twists in this game. I thought Moeen Ali was really good. I've always rated Moeen Ali as a spinner. I think he puts a lot into the ball. I think he's clearly England's best spinner. And I'm not saying that on the evidence of today's performance. I think he's England's best spinner, but I don't think England know that.
It was really interesting at Stumps at the press conference. He said that one bad winter, so his Ashes tour last December and January, does not make you a bad cricketer. It's all about confidence. He hasn't changed his technique. It's just about the way he's seeing it and the way he's been able to bowl with a clear mind today.
Yeah, he's such a good bowler, and it came in handy because it's one of those rare days when Anderson was not leading the attack with his verve. It can happen to the best in the world. Maybe it's because he's close to McGrath. McGrath's not from
7 away.
Yeah, not from Melbourne. And McGrath knows his numbers as well, but I thought he bowled beautifully. And as you talked about this strange game of up and down. There's so much mystery in the game. To me, the mystery was encapsulated by Ashwin's shot. I mean, Ashwin puts a lot of thought into his cricket. I've got a lot of admiration for the way he thinks about the game. He gets the best out of him. I don't know what he was thinking playing that shot. My instinct tells me there's still a big role for Ashwin, but suddenly you're thinking India are going to be 60, 70 behind. And for all the drama around 2-1, is it going to be 3-1 again? And then Pujara with the tail. How good was Ishant and how good was Bumrah? I mean, he doesn't have the weapons to play, doesn't have the defence, and yet he hung in there.
I thought most admirable in that was as much about how Pujara managed to milk the strike. That's easier said than done, trying to negotiate the strike at the end of each over. They had it going for about an hour there.
It was an innings of great skill. I mean, at the end of this series, I'll remember this series for a lot of things, and I think there's a lot still to come, but I'll remember it for Pujara's last sort of 40-odd runs, just because of the way he manipulated the strike. It was also a period, and I said that on commentary, and if some of you heard it there, you might think I'm repeating myself. It was a phase when everybody was playing unlike themselves. Anderson was charging in round the wicket bowling bouncers. Pujara was trying to hit every ball. Adil Rashid, as a spinner, was trying to push the ball through. And I thought the way Pujara ran a second run, I said, gee, Pujara's out Pujaraing himself. That was great fun to watch. So it was a fascinating day's play. I really wouldn't trade this day for anything.
Is he the toughest mental player, if you like, since T20 cricket? I've been asked to ask you this, and I'm curious about your opinion.
He is, because if you're not playing T20 cricket in India, you're spending a lot of time explaining why you're not playing T20 cricket, justifying the fact that you're not that kind of player, giving everything you have to the test match game, because that is now your only form of the game. It comes with long intervals in between. So he's tough. You've got to be tough. Pujara has come through a very difficult phase in life. He's had a couple of knee operations. There was a phase in his life. Unfortunately, his mother passed away early. He had a knee injury. His father had a heart surgery, and they were literally looking after each other. And so he's come through a really difficult phase, and when you come through phases like that, you just get much tougher.
Another day where 10 wickets were taken. It does pretty much mean that the series rests on what happens tomorrow. I know we said this before about how close a series is, but isn't it wonderful? We're this deep into it, and yet we have not a clue as to who's going to win.
And yet we might be saying this at the end of the third day as well, because if England said India sort of tricky 220 to get, and then the fourth day will be be wonderful to watch. So I think I'll be very interested in seeing how this England top order plays. They're averaging 17, remember, so
Yes.
they can only do better.
And they looked okay tonight. Jennings and Cook out there. They had to bat for 4 overs. Ashwin opened the bowling, as you'd expect in the circumstances. For once, England looked like they more or less had their act together.
Yeah, and there I'm looking forward to on day 3. I thought Cook looked comfortable till he got out. I want to see how Root handles the situation, and I want to see how Ashwin tries to win the game for India on a track that really is doing a bit for the spinners. It's going to be a wonderful day's cricket on day 3.
India's lead on the first innings was 27. It's now 21. England close at 6 for no loss. Another great day of Test cricket, a fantastic series. Adam Collins and Harsha Bhogle for quick buzz at stumps.
Before we finish,
Oh,
who got the 100 today?
Chiteshwar Pujara. I'll get it right eventually. I've been mispronouncing his name for 5 years. We'll get there eventually.
He got that, and so on that happy note from the two of us, goodbye as well.
See you tomorrow.